How do everybody? I've just been watching quite a lot of videos lately involving mostly American channels talking about the grooming gangs cover up and scandal in the United Kingdom. And some of them that have really been catching my eye has been the fact that Dr. Steve Turley and also Tim Pool are really getting interested in the topic, and they really are not letting go of this subject. And rightly so, by the way. I mean, it is absolutely shocking, and it's an absolute national embarrassment for us as a nation that this has been allowed to happen for decades. But I do get the feeling that when Donald Trump comes into power, he's going to start with some choice words about this, and I am very curious actually about the fact that he hasn't invited Keir Starmer to his inauguration, which is very unusual, by the way, for a sitting prime minister not to be invited to it. Now, the fact that prime ministers tend not to visit the inaugurations is a bit different, and something that's been getting me thinking is what are going to be the consequences of this? I do think that the incoming American administration are going to start putting pressure on the British government, and maybe, just maybe, that might be why we are starting to see Labour actually finally starting to talk about things like having independent inquiries into it. Now, they aren't going anywhere near far enough, in my mind, with what they've been recently seeing. And I don't think that these current inquiries that they are proposing even come close to scratching the surface of what is actually required. Now, there's many reasons for that. I do think a big part of the problem, though, is that Labour are so embroiled in these crimes themselves that they seek undermining their own validity as a political organisation if they were to actually tackle these problems headlong and thoroughly investigate them in a proper and astute manner. But I do think there's other issues as well in things like political ideology and theory as well, involving things like racism, multiculturalism, and those sorts of things. So it's a very complicated subject in that matter. It's not just there's no silver bullet answer. But I am wondering, especially after we're hearing like Donald Trump wants to take in Greenland, and he's on about taking the Panama Canal back into US control and all these other sorts of things. I'm wondering if we're going to see the US president actually put sanctions on Britain. And a lot of people might actually at first think that's a crazy idea, but is it? You know, we do see various countries who engage in horrendous crimes against their own people having very severe consequences put on them by the US administrations of past, you know, including, well, up to and including the US invading those countries. And I don't put that past being a real thing. You know, Donald Trump has had a near miss with the bullet not too long ago. Whatever your views are on religion, Donald Trump is a religious man. He does believe in God, and he does take Christianity very seriously. We could see Donald Trump actually being religiously motivated to intervene in these crimes against the British people. And by the way, I would not actually be necessarily opposed to that either. I do think we may be in such a position where the only way for Britain to sort out these problems is for there to be outside pressure put onto the British establishment. Because the British establishment itself, you know, and this includes judges, chiefs of police, you know, heads of schools, you know, educational chiefs, blah all these various people who are running it are so up to their necks in this scandal against the British people, where maybe the only answer is for a foreign power like the United States to actually intervene in this. You know, it's I think, but like I say, I think we may very well be seeing sanctions being proposed against Britain. We may even see US organisations such as the CIA possibly organising and funding groups in Britain to oppose the current establishment regime. Now, is that a good thing for Britain? I don't know. Probably not. But is it surprising that if it was to happen? No, it would not at all. Would America be wholly doing it for philanthropic purposes? No, absolutely not. You know, let's not kid ourselves. America would be doing what they think is best for America and the interests of the American state itself and the American intelligence agencies. You know, they would obviously want to overthrow any sort of barriers that may stand in their way of their interests. But I do think and believe that America would not absolutely see it as being beyond acceptable to weaponise our own weakness or the weakness of the British state for their own advantage. You know, it's that's the way power works. That's the way politics works. You know, we may talk about being allies with America or being having the special relationship, blah blah blah. But be under no illusions, the American state will always work in the favour of the American state, just as every country should do. By the way, I don't. That's not a criticism of America. I do think that all countries should behave and think like that. And the 20th century has just been this mad gaslighting experiment where they tried to throw out social norms and understood traditions of how countries operate and how societies operate. But I do think that, as I say, I do think we are going to see Donald Trump putting a lot of pressure onto Britain, particularly on Keir Starmer himself. And I'm not basing this on any facts either. This is just purely gut feeling, just the way I see the wind blowing. That's something that I will not be surprised if we do see happen anyway. But I'm going to leave it at that. Make of that what you want. I just thought it's a bit of an interesting idea that other people may be interested in hearing. If you agree with me or disagree with me, please do put comments below. I'm very, very interested to hear what people have to say. And I do like replying to people's comments. And please do like and subscribe as well. Thank you for your time. Take care and goodbye.